If you've been following the channel at all, you know we like to dive into specifics on the knights and factions found in the Lands Between and the Land of Shadow. We've uncovered the stories of so many chivalric orders, from the Redmanes to the Mausoleum Knights, and Shadow of the Erdtree has given us many more avenues to explore. One of the new factions you're likely to face early on your journey through the Land of Shadow would be the Horned Warriors. Large, imposing figures, able to attack with not only great strength, but with spectral horns that will track down their foes. What's most interesting about these warriors is that they're at the lowest point of a larger group with a clear line of progression, becoming more divine as they go, until finally taking their place as part of a dancing lion. Today we will be taking a look at not only the Horned Warriors, but the Divine Beast Warriors, Divine Bird Warriors, and the Dancing Lions, as all of these enemies are tied together through a divinity predating the Erdtree itself, the divinity of the Primordial Crucible. Welcome to this week's episode of Elden Lore, where we uncover the stories of the people, places, and divine warriors of the Lands Between and the Land of Shadow. Whether this is your first time finding the channel or you've been with us from the start, thank you for your support. We really appreciate it. With over 140 lore dives under our belt, we hope you can find whatever you're looking for in our playlist, but if not, leave a comment letting us know what you want to see, and I can promise you we'll read it. You can also check out our Discord to become a member of a group of FromSoft fans who love digging into the lore and strategies of these games. If you end up enjoying any of our content, please consider subscribing to the channel, but no pressure. As always, your viewership is more than enough for us. With that said, let's get back to the story at hand. The Horned Warriors are massive figures that can reduce our tarnish to mush within seconds if we're not careful. The best explanation of what they are comes from the Horned Warrior ashes, which tell us. This heavily armored guardian spirit of the tower attained inhuman strength through divine invocation, and wields a curved greatsword that brings horns to bear on its foes. In the tower, these warriors and their weapons both are spiritual vessels. So what does it mean to be a spiritual vessel? Presumably, as a spiritual vessel, these warriors are honing themselves to become closer to the Crucible. The sword being considered a vessel as well is likely due to the ash of war hewn into it. This weapon is described as a curved sword of the Horned Warriors, keepers of the tower. The ornamental tangled horns allow the blade to serve as a medium for horn calling. We can see the power of horn calling while fighting these enemies, and can wield it for ourselves should we take their blades. The strength of this spiritual vessel allows us to call forth horns of light to pierce our foes, and given the strong connection between the Crucible and horns, it's fair to say the light they summon is the light of the Crucible. While these enemies are powerful in their own right, it seems as if they can become even stronger through divine invocation. The Horned Warrior helm tells us it's a helm featuring a crown of sturdy tangled horns, allowing the wearer to invoke divinity. Attire of the Horned Warriors, keepers of the tower. Divine invocation bolsters the strength of the wearer, but causes the blessing of the Erdtree to become nauseating, reducing the restorative effect of drinking from a flask of sacred tears. Focus is also troubled by wearing this helm. Many armor pieces associated with these divine warriors have the effect of making the blessing of the Erdtree nauseating, and this makes perfect sense, as the power of the Erdtree was a force that was seeking to supplant the current order, based in spiritual worship and divine invocation of the Crucible. By wearing these masks and practicing their rituals, the Horned Warriors make it clear who they fight for and why. The two-handed sword talisman drives this point home as well, telling us the Horned Warriors were fitting figureheads for the military might of the tower they kept watch over, their deft attacks slashing through any and all foes. All this said, it would seem that becoming a Horned Warrior is only the first step in a much larger role as a protector of Inir Alim. After burning the tree which hides Inir Alim with Mesmer's fire, we can explore this place. The very first enemy you encounter here wields the Horned Warrior's swords, but instead of their flowing tabard and helm of horns, they wear golden armor and the visage of a bird on their helm. These are the Divine Bird Warriors, and we can begin to learn of them through the spirit ashes of one of their own, Ornis. Spirit of the Divine Bird Warrior, from whom the Horned Warriors claim descent. Clad in golden armor and granted wings and feathers by divine invocation, Ornis succeeded in taming the divine bird and made its wings his own as he soared through the sky. When he finally fell to earth, he lived on as the guardian deity of the temple quarter. It seems the Horned Warriors were not the first of their kind. They're simply copying the divine invocations of the past first seen from the Divine Bird Warriors. Their armor tells us it is Armor of Divine Bird Warriors, the very first of all Horned Warriors, made from a golden metal. The golden-hued divine birds are known to be cruel, never taking to human companionship. Those who invoked their divinity were few and far between. I'm going to go out on a limb and say the Divine Bird Warriors we can do battle with in the Rao Ruins and in Elim are of the few who invoked the divinity of the divine birds in order to become a knight. As their item descriptions imply, they are ancient compared to the Horned Warriors. They're capable of using the incantation Divine Bird Feathers, which tells us the Divine Bird Warriors, and indeed this technique, are said to bear resemblance to the Golden Crucible, further tying their strength, and the strength of all these Horned Warriors, to the primordial crucible itself. I will say, these enemies being portrayed as birds, as well as possessing the ability to summon golden wings, and the mention of Ornis taking the divine bird, does bring to mind the idea of the Stormlord of Stormvale Castle. While there are many theories on who the Stormlord is, there are two types of animals strongly associated with storms, eagles and lions, both of which are found in the castle. When we remember that the divine dancing lions are masters of storms, it does make one consider that maybe the Stormlord actually originates from the Land of Shadow, and was once a warrior who partook in divine invocation, a faith of the old days. Now that we have an idea of who the Horned Warriors are and where their ritual practices originated, we can look into another variation of these enemies found in Anir Elim, the Divine Beast Warriors. There are only 4 Divine Beast Warriors, with one specializing in lightning, one in ice, and 2 in wind. These enemies wear a smaller version of the divine beast head worn by the dancing lions, and they do this because they've transcended merely being Horned Warriors, and are working toward performing the lion dances themselves one day. Their armor, the Divine Beast Warrior tunic, tells us it is armor of fetid Horned Warriors, chosen to become Divine Beast Warriors, adorned with a lion's pelt. Among the Divine Beast Warriors, only those who truly excel at divine invocation become Sculpted Keepers, and are granted the honor of the lion dance. The goal of every Horned Warrior is to someday become a Sculpted Keeper, but when we consider what the divine lion dance was originally intended for, it makes this practice a little less clear. Apparently, the divine lion dance was not always meant to be a form of combat. The remembrance of the divine dancing lion tells us, when the Impaler's army assailed the tower, the ritual of the lion dance was turned toward martial ends. Its divinity, its fury, its light-footed beauty. In the past, before Mesmer marched on the Land of Shadow, these dancers wielded great power, but it was not used for aggression, rather, for worship. The lion dance used to be performed at festivals, as the enraged divine beast talisman tells us. A charm depicting the crazed, cavorting dance of the divine beast conducted at the Tower Festival raises potency of storms. Divine beasts are messengers of the heavens, and their rage mirrors the tumult of the skies, of which storms are the pinnacle. In times long past, the divine lion dance was meant to worship the crucible. Its displays of lightning, ice, and wind were meant to express its great power and reverence for all it was. This begs the question, why did one need to become a warrior in order to hone this skill? I believe becoming a Horned Warrior was the first step in understanding the power of nature, or the heavens. Before one could begin to master the destructive forces of lightning, ice, or wind, they needed to strengthen their bodies and learn the art of horn calling to become closer to the crucible. Eventually, those that mastered themselves and the elements would be capable of showing true reverence for the heavens by invoking all forms of its power at will. The horn-sent Grandam helps us understand the reverence the people of the Land of Shadow had for those that protected their tower. Upon greeting her while wearing the divine beast head, she expresses her joy at our presence.
Oh, such a joy to smell the scent again. Does a Sculpted Keeper stand before me? Oh, as I felt the sacred beast's essence fade, a great anxiety welled up within. Forgive this old woman her foolish fears. 'Tis such relief I cannot express. After an eternity of the mind, our voices have at last reached the heavens, as evinced by thy gracious arrival. Oh.
Once a Sculpted Keeper reached the point where they could perform the dance, they too were seen as divine. However, this divinity would not be enough to protect them from the fate that awaited at the hands of Queen Marika and her son. After Mesmer attacked, the Hornsent believed they could use the strength of the heavens their Sculpted Keepers possess to push back against his flames. But the incantation, Divine Beast Tornado, tells us how this plan worked out for them. The majority of Divine Beasts were gored and hung upon Mesmer's spears, then burned in his flame. Those who witnessed the deed likened it to a funeral pyre for the tower itself. Even though these Sculpted Keepers trained their entire lives in the art of divine invocation, it was not enough to fight back against the unimaginable power of Mesmer's flame. And upon our defeat of the last two divine dancing lions in the Land of Shadow, this ritual has been ended permanently. No more will a Sculpted Keeper wield the strength of the heavens, and the horned and divine beast warriors will likely never reach a point where they can don the lion's head alongside another keeper and perform the dance. After all, if there are no divine lions left to teach them to dance, then this art has truly been lost forever. Thank you for joining us for this exploration of the Horned Warriors, their inspiration, and the path they followed to one day become divine dancing lions. Do you believe the dance is doomed to end permanently after we enter the Land of Shadow? Was the original Stormlord a divine bird warrior who established Stormvale Castle and still practiced their divine invocations within the lands between? Why was fire suspiciously absent from the divine lion dance? Lightning, ice, and wind are all forces of nature. Wouldn't fire fall under this purview as well? Let us know your thoughts and theories in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell, and set notifications to all so you never miss out on any of our lore dives. We look forward to seeing you again for more Elden Lore.